Hey everyone, imagine this. It's your 21st birthday, a day that's supposed to be all about you. Cake, gifts, maybe a little party. Now picture your stepmom crashing that vibe, looking you dead in the eye and saying, "You're an adult now, Lydia. Time to pay $2,000 a month in rent." Yeah, that's the nightmare Lydia walked into. Not kidding, this girl's life flipped upside down in a single moment, all because of a woman named Margaret who thought she could play queen of the house. Sounds wild, right? Stick around, because this story's got drama, betrayal, and a comeback you won't see coming. Lydia's a regular girl, raised by her dad Henry, a chef with a little restaurant that's his whole world. But when Margaret and her 2 kids moved in, everything changed. By the end of this, you'll be rooting for Lydia to take back what's hers, and trust me, she does it in style. So, what would you do if your stepmom pulled this on you? Drop your thoughts below and let's dive into this crazy ride together. All right, let's rewind a bit and get to know Lydia before all the chaos hit. She grew up in a small, cozy house just a block away from her dad Henry's restaurant, Henry's Kitchen. Her mom passed away in a car accident when Lydia was only 8, and honestly, that hit hard. I mean, imagine losing your mom that young. Lydia still remembers her soft voice singing lullabies and the smell of her perfume. But Henry, he stepped up. He wasn't perfect, sure, but he was her rock. A big guy with flour-dusted aprons, always tinkering in the kitchen, whipping up the best pancakes you've ever tasted. On weekends, they'd hang out in the restaurant after closing, Lydia perched on a stool, licking batter off a spoon while Henry flipped burgers and told her stories about her mom's laugh. Birthdays were their thing. Every year, no matter how slammed the restaurant got, Henry would close up early, bake Lydia a lopsided chocolate cake, and they'd watch old movies on the couch. School events? He'd be there, front row, clapping louder than anyone. It wasn't fancy, but it was home. Quiet, warm, and safe. Lydia grew up feeling loved, even if there was this little ache where her mom used to be. She'd help out at the restaurant sometimes, bussing tables or sneaking fries from the fryer, dreaming of maybe running the place with him one day. Life wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. Then Lydia turned 16, and Henry started acting different. He'd come home late, humming to himself, a goofy smile on his face. She didn't think much of it at first. Maybe business was picking up. But one Saturday, he sat her down at the kitchen table, hands fidgeting, and said, "Lydia, I've met someone. Her name's Margaret, and she's special." Lydia forced a smile, thinking, okay, cool, Dad's happy. He deserved that, right? Margaret was a bank teller, all polished nails and sharp lasers, with 2 kids of her own. Jake, a loud 22-year-old obsessed with basketball, and Sophie, a 19-year-old who lived for selfies. Henry was smitten, talking about a fresh start and a bigger family. Lydia nodded along, figuring she could handle a few new faces around the house. Looking back, she wishes she'd seen the red flags. That first dinner with Margaret, Jake, and Sophie was fine. Awkward laughs, small talk about the restaurant, but there was something off. Margaret's smile didn't quite reach her eyes, and Jake kept hogging the mashed potatoes like he already owned the place. Lydia brushed it off, telling herself, they're just settling in. She had no clue that settling in would turn her little world upside down. For a while, though, things stayed calm. Henry was still her dad, the restaurant was still their spot, and Lydia thought maybe, just maybe, this new family thing could work. Boy, was she wrong. So here's where things start shifting. Henry marries Margaret about 6 months after that first dinner, and suddenly Lydia's house isn't just hers and her dad's anymore. Margaret moves in with Jake and Sophie, hauling in fancy suitcases and boxes of stuff that scream, "I'm here to stay." At first, it's not terrible. Margaret's all charm, think glossy lipstick and a voice that's too sweet, like she's trying to Lydia, honey, I'm so excited to be part of this family, she says, squeezing Lydia's shoulder. Jake's loud, dribbling a basketball in the backyard, and Sophie's snapping pics for her Instagram. But Lydia figures, okay, I can deal. Henry's glowing, happier than she's seen him in years. And that's what matters, right? For a while, it's manageable. Margaret cooks dinner a few nights, makes small talk about her bank job, and even helps Henry tweak the restaurant menu, adds some overpriced salad he'd never have picked. Lydia still got her routine. School, helping at Henry's kitchen, crashing on the couch with a book. But then Henry lands a big catering gig, some rich guy's wedding, huge paycheck. And he's gone more. Late nights turn into whole weekends away, and that's when Margaret drops the act. It starts small. "Lydia, can you vacuum?" "I've had a long day at the bank," Margaret says, kicking off her heels and scrolling her phone. Lydia doesn't mind. Chores are fine, she's used to pitching in. But then it's, "Oh, and the dishes too," and "Laundry's piling up, hun." Before she knows it, Lydia's the one cooking dinner every night. Spaghetti, tacos, whatever. While Margaret sips wine on the couch, Jake's out shooting hoops and Sophie's posing in the bathroom mirror. "You're so good at this," Margaret coos, like it's a compliment, but her eyes are cold, calculating. Jake and Sophie? They're no better. Jake's 22, built like a linebacker, but acts like the world owes him. "Yo, Lydia, grab me a soda," he yells from the living room, feet up on the coffee table. Sophie's 19, always in crop tops and fake lashes, giggling at her phone. "Can you clean the kitchen? I've got a shoot tomorrow," she says, like her selfies are a full-time job. Lydia bites her tongue, thinking, they'll pitch in eventually. Nope. One night, she snaps, "Jake, why don't you help?" He laughs. "Nah, I'm training for the rec league. You got this." Sophie chimes in, "Yeah, it's easier if you just do it." Margaret smirks from the corner, sipping her Pinot Grigio like she's watching a show. When Henry's home, it's a different story. Margaret flips a switch. Suddenly she's bustling around, setting the table, asking Lydia, "Didn't we have fun cooking together?" Lydia's jaw drops, but Henry beams. "You two are getting along great." Margaret winks at her, daring her to argue. Lydia doesn't. She's 16. What's she gonna say? She tells herself it's temporary, that Henry's just busy with the catering boom. But months turn into a year, and the house feels less like home. Her room's still hers, but everywhere else, it's Margaret's territory now. Lydia starts noticing little things. Her mom's old cookbooks vanish from the kitchen. Margaret says they cluttered the space. Henry's too tired to bake her birthday cake at 17. Margaret orders some dry grocery store thing instead. Jake's basketball dents the garage door. Sophie's makeup stains the sink, and Lydia's stuck cleaning it all. She tries talking to Henry once, late after a shift at the restaurant. "Dad, it's a lot with them here," she mumbles. He rubs his eyes, exhausted. "Give it time, kiddo. Margaret's good for us." She nods, but her chest tightens. Time doesn't fix this. By 18, Lydia's basically the maid. Margaret's demands get bolder, ironing her work blouses, scrubbing the floors, while she brags to Henry about keeping the house running. Jake's blasting music, Sophie's filming TikToks, and Lydia's wondering how her life turned into this. She's still helping at Henry's kitchen when she can, but even that feels off. Margaret's always there, suggesting upgrades like she owns it. Lydia's quiet, bottling it up, but inside she's simmering. She doesn't know it yet, but this is just the build-up. Margaret's about to push her too far, and when she does, oh, it's gonna flip everything. So by the time Lydia's 19, her life's a full-on mess. Henry's catering gigs have him gone 3 weeks a month, some fancy events in other cities, leaving the restaurant in his sous chef's hands. That means Margaret's in charge at home, and she's loving every second of it. Lydia's not just doing chores anymore, she's the house slave, and Margaret's the puppet master pulling every string. Picture this. Lydia stumbles in from school, backpack still on, exhausted from algebra and a shift at Henry's kitchen, and Margaret's lounging on the couch, wine glass in hand, barking orders. Lydia, the floors need mopping. Oh, and dinner's not gonna cook itself. No please, no thanks, just that smug tone, like she's doing Lydia a favor by letting her live there. It's relentless. Breakfast? Lydia's flipping pancakes while Jake sleeps in and Sophie edits her latest selfie video. Lunch? She's slapping together sandwiches, crumbs everywhere because Margaret had a rough morning at the bank. Dinner's the worst, full meals like roast chicken or lasagna, and she's scrubbing pots while the others scroll their phones. One night, she's stirring soup, sweat on her forehead, and Jake strolls in. "Make it quick, I'm starving," he grunts, then plops down to watch ESPN. Sophie's next, whining, "Can you keep it down? I'm filming." Lydia grips the spoon tighter, thinking, "This isn't my job." She tries pushing back once. "Sophie, can't you wash the dishes tonight?" she asks, voice shaky. Sophie snorts. No. I've got followers waiting for my content." Jake chimes in, "Yeah, chill. You're good at this stuff." Margaret overhears, sauntering in with that fake smile. "Lydia, we're a family. Everyone's got their role. You're so helpful." Helpful? She's drowning. Laundry piles up. Jake's sweaty gym socks, Sophie's glittery tops, and Lydia's the one hauling it to the washer. Margaret's blouses need ironing for her big meetings, and if there's a wrinkle, she sighs, "Can't you do anything right?" When Henry's around, it's Oscar-worthy. He drags in from a trip, apron still smelling like garlic, and Margaret suddenly bustling, tossing a salad, wiping a counter she hasn't touched in weeks. "Lydia and I have been holding it down," she purrs, and Henry grins. "You're a team." Lydia's stomach twists. She wants to scream, "No, Dad." She's lying, but Margaret's eyes dare her to try. She stays quiet, figuring he's too tired to hear it anyway. He'll pat her head, say, "Proud of you, kid," and crash, oblivious to the hell she's in. School's her only escape, but even that's slipping. She's up late, scrubbing floors, so homework's half done, grades dipping. Friends notice she used to hang out, laugh over fries at the restaurant, but now she's busy. She lies, just helping Dad, because who'd believe this? At 20, it hits a breaking point. Margaret's demands get insane, cleaning the garage, polishing silverware they don't even use, while Jake's hosting buddies for pickup games and Sophie's hogging the bathroom for photo shoots. Lydia's got no time for herself, no space to breathe. She's fading, and they don't care. She tries fighting back again. One Saturday, arms aching from lugging trash, she snaps, "Why am I the only one doing this?" Margaret's sipping coffee, cool as ice. "Because you live here, Lydia. Stop being dramatic." Jake laughs. "Yeah, don't make it weird." Sophie smirks. "You're fine, just keep going." Lydia's blood boils, but she's stuck. Yelling gets her nowhere. She thinks about telling Henry, but he's so wrapped up in Margaret's charm, she's scared he'll take her side. Maybe I'm overreacting. She doubts herself, shoving the anger down. Then she tries something desperate. At 20, she calls Child Protective Services. Technically, she's still a dependent. She spills it all, the chores, the bullying, Margaret's reign. A caseworker visits, and Margaret flips, tears streaming, voice trembling. "I love Lydia like my own. She's just confused." Jake and Sophie back her up, all wide-eyed innocence. Lydia's shaking, begging, "Check the house, see who's doing everything." But there's no proof, no bruises, just her word against theirs. The caseworker sighs. "We'll recommend counseling, but it's not abuse." Margaret smug behind her fake sobs, whispering later, "Don't test me again." After that, it's worse. Margaret's colder, piling on more. Clean the windows, scrub the fridge, while hissing, "Ungrateful brat." Jake and Sophie ice her out, mocking her when Henry's not looking. "Snitch," Jake mutters. Lydia's trapped, a ghost in her own home. She's got no allies, no way out. Nights she lies awake, staring at the ceiling, that little ache from losing her mom, now a gaping hole. She's not a kid anymore, but she feels smaller than ever. Henry's clueless, still texting her, "Love you, kid," from some hotel, while Margaret tightens the screws. But something's brewing. Lydia's not broken yet. She's mad, and that fire's flickering. She doesn't know how, but she's done swallowing this. Her 21st birthday's coming, and with it, a storm Margaret won't see coming. She's been pushed too far, and trust me, she's about to push back. Hard. All right, let's get to the moment that flips everything. Lydia's 23rd birthday. She's been counting down not because she's dying to party, but because she's hoping it'll mean something. Maybe a break from the madness, a nod from Henry that she's still his girl. He's been away for weeks, catering some swanky corporate retreat, and Lydia's holding on to a text he sent. "Sorry I'll miss your big day, kiddo. Have fun with Margaret and the crew." She stares at it, confused. Fun? With them? She shrugs it off, figuring he's just busy, and heads home from school, dreaming of a quiet night. Maybe some takeout, a movie. She walks in, and the house is dead silent. No balloons, no cake, just the usual. Jake sprawled on the couch, controller in hand, Sophie upstairs humming to her phone, Margaret swirling wine in the kitchen. Lydia's heart sinks, but she's used to it. She starts pulling out stuff for dinner. Spaghetti, simple enough. When Margaret saunters over, heels clicking. "Oh, Lydia, happy birthday," she says, voice flat, like she's reading a script. Lydia mumbles a thanks, stirring the sauce, waiting for it to drop. And it does. Margaret leans against the counter, smirking. "You're 21 now, right? An adult?" Lydia nods, uneasy. "Good. Then it's time you start pulling your weight. From now on, you'll pay $2,000 a month in rent." Lydia freezes, spoon mid-air, sauce dripping. "What?" she chokes out. Margaret sips her wine, cool as ever. "You heard me. You're not a kid anymore. Adults pay their way." Jake snickers from the living room. "About time." Sophie pokes her head down the stairs, giggling. "Yeah, Lyd, go celebrate by getting a job or something." Lydia's head spins. $2,000? She's a part-time hostess at Henry's Kitchen, barely scraping by with tips. "But this is Dad's house," she stammers. Margaret's eyes narrow. "It's our house, and you're lucky I'm only asking $2,000. Jake and Sophie don't pay. They're family." Lydia's voice cracks. "Aren't I family?" Margaret laughs, sharp and mean. "Oh, honey, you're Henry's kid, not mine. Big difference." Jake yells, "Pay up or shut up." And Sophie adds, "Exactly, stop whining." Lydia's shaking, anger bubbling up. She wants to throw the pot at them, scream, "This is my home!" But she doesn't. She finishes dinner in silence, hands trembling as she plates it. They eat like nothing happened. Margaret praising the pasta, Jake scarfing it down, Sophie snapping a pic for her aesthetic. The doorbell rings mid-meal. A delivery guy with a small package from Henry. Lydia grabs it, tearing it open, a tiny necklace with a chef's hat charm and a note. "Happy 21st, Lydia. Proud of you always. Love, Dad." Her eyes sting, but Margaret snatches the note, scans it, and tosses it aside. Cute. Doesn't change anything. Dinner ends, and Lydia's alone in the kitchen, washing dishes, staring at that note crumpled on the counter. $2,000 a month. Margaret's words echo, "Not my family." Something snaps inside her. Not loud, not yet, but it's there. She's done being their doormat. This birthday didn't just make her 21, it lit a fuse. Margaret thinks she's won, but Lydia's about to turn this whole game upside down. So, Lydia's 21, fuming and scrubbing dishes while Margaret's rent demand rings in her ears. $2,000 a month? It's insane. She can't afford that, and she shouldn't have to. She's replaying the night. Margaret's smug face, Jake's laugh, Sophie's little jab, and that note from Henry crumpled on the counter. She's mad, but more than that, she's tired. Tired of being walked all over in a house she's lived in since she was a kid. That's when it hits her. Wait, Whose house is this anyway? She dries her hands, grabs the necklace from Dad, and heads to her room, mind racing. She's got this old wooden box under her bed. Her mom's stuff. Things Henry couldn't bear to toss after the accident. Lydia hasn't touched it in years, but something's nagging at her. She pulls it out, dust puffing up, and starts digging. Photos, a scarf that still smells faintly of lavender, and then jackpot. A yellowed envelope labeled property deed. Her hands shake as she opens it. There it is, black and white. The house, 142 Maple Street, deeded to Lydia Marie Carter by her mom, dated a month before the crash. A note's clipped to it in her mom's handwriting. For my girl, always. Love, Mom. Lydia's breath catches. It's mine, not Dad's, not Margaret's. Mine. She sits there staring at the paper, heart pounding. How did she not know? Henry never mentioned it. Maybe he forgot. Maybe he didn't want to deal with it after Mom died, but this changes everything. Margaret's been strutting around like she owns the place, and all this time, Lydia's the one with the keys. Literally. She's not just some tenant, she's the landlord. A slow grin spreads across her face. Oh, this is gonna be good. Next morning, she's up early, slipping out before Margaret can nag her about breakfast. She heads to a lawyer, a friend of a friend from the restaurant, a guy named Tom who does free consults for broke college kids. She slides the deed across his desk, explaining the whole mess. Margaret, the rent, the years of being their maid. Tom leans back, scanning the paper, then whistles. Kid, this is airtight. Your mom left it in trust till you were 21. Yesterday, right? Congrats, you're the boss now. Margaret's got no claim, and neither does your dad unless you say so. Lydia blinks. So? I can charge them rent? Tom grins. Yup, or kick him out if they don't pay. Your call. She walks home, head buzzing, plodding. That night, dinner's tense. Margaret's sipping her usual wine, Jake scarfing leftovers, Sophie's whining about Wi-Fi. Lydia waits till they're done, then clears her throat. Hey, Margaret, about that rent thing? Margaret rolls her eyes. What, you got the money already? Lydia pulls the deed from her pocket, lays it on the table like a winning card. Actually, I don't think I'm the one paying. This house, it's mine. Mom left it to me, so if anyone's paying rent, it's you three. The room goes dead quiet. Margaret's glass freezes halfway to her lips. Jake's fork clatters. Sophie gasps. What? Lydia keeps going, voice steady. I checked with a lawyer. I own this place. You want to stay? That'll be $2,000 a month each, or you can pack up and go. Your choice. Margaret's face twists, red creeping up her neck. This is ridiculous. You're lying. Lydia slides the deed forward. Read it. Call Dad if you want, but I'm not kidding. Jake stammering. Wait, you can't. Sophie's screeching. This is our house too. Margaret slams her glass down, wine sloshing. You little brat, you think you can pull this? Henry won't stand for it. Lydia crosses her arms, calm as hell. Then call him. Tell him how you've been treating his daughter in my house. Go ahead. Margaret's glaring, but there's panic in her eyes. She knows she's cornered. Jake mutters, This is nuts. And Sophie's whining, Mom, do something. Lydia stands, grabbing the deed. You've got till tomorrow to decide. Pay or leave. She walks out, leaving them sputtering. In her room, she locks the door, heart racing but lighter than it's been in years. She's not just fighting back. She's winning. Margaret's about to learn she picked the wrong girl to mess with, and this is only the start. Lydia's feeling on top of the world after dropping that deed bombshell, but she's not done digging yet. Margaret's scrambling. Lydia can hear her pacing downstairs, muttering to Jake and Sophie, probably plotting some way to weasel out of this. But Lydia's got a hunch. Margaret's been too comfortable, too slick, like she's hiding something bigger than just bossing everyone around. So, while they're freaking out, Lydia sneaks into Henry's study. her dad's messy little cave of receipts and restaurant paperwork. She's not even sure what she's looking for, just something. She's rifling through drawers, old menus, tax forms, when she spots a stack of bank statements shoved in the back, half buried under a takeout menu. They're from Henry's account, the one tied to the restaurant, but the numbers don't add up. Withdrawals, big ones, $5,000 here, $10,000 there, dated back 2 years, way more than catering gear or payroll would cost. Then she sees it. A loan approval, $50,000 with Henry's signature scrawled at the bottom. Except, it's off. She's seen his handwriting 1,000,000 times on birthday cards, grocery lists. It's close, but the loops are too tight, the slant's wrong. Her gut twists. Margaret. Lydia grabs her phone, snaps pics of everything, and bolts to her room. She's piecing it together. Margaret works at the bank, right? She's got access, motive, and that fake charm to cover it. Lydia's shaking, not just mad, but furious. This isn't just about rent or chores. Margaret's been stealing from Henry, forging his name, probably laughing while Lydia scrubbed floors to keep her happy. She texts Tom, the lawyer, attaching the pics. Found this. Fake signature. He replies fast. Looks forged. Bring it in. Could be fraud. Big trouble for her. Next morning, Margaret's still smug, sipping coffee like nothing's changed. Jake's sulking. Sophie's whining about moving out, but Lydia's ready. She walks into the kitchen, casual as can be, and drops the second bomb. Margaret, one more thing before you decide about rent. Margaret smirks. What now? Lydia holds up her phone, bank statement glowing on the screen. You forged Dad's signature for a $50,000 loan. I've got proof. Statements, dates, everything. Lawyer says it's fraud. Wanna explain? Margaret's coffee cup clatters to the counter, brown splashing everywhere. What are you talking about? She snaps, but her voice cracks. Jake's head jerks up. Mom? Sophie's gaping. No way. Lydia doesn't blink. I'm guessing Dad doesn't know you've been dipping into his account. How long you think he'll stay married to you when he finds out? Or the bank? Pretty sure they'd love to hear about their star teller pulling this. Margaret's pale, stammering. You can't prove that. Lydia shrugs. Already did. Copies are with my lawyer. So, new deal. You leave quietly, or I send this to Dad and the cops. Your call. Jake's muttering, Mom, what'd you do? Sophie's near tears. This is a joke, right? Margaret's cornered, eyes darting like a trapped animal. She tries one last bluff. Henry won't believe you. Lydia smiles. Cold he will when he sees the signature. Clock's ticking. She walks out, leaving Margaret sputtering. That $50,000 secret? It's her ace, and she's playing it hard. Margaret's not just losing the house, she's losing everything, and Lydia's making damn sure of it. Lydia's got Margaret on the ropes now, and the air in the house is thick with tension. She's waiting for Henry to get back. He's due home any day from that corporate retreat, and she knows this is it, the big showdown. Margaret's been a wreck since the fraud bomb dropped, snapping at Jake and Sophie, who are just as rattled. Jake's pacing, muttering, This can't be real, while Sophie's whining. I'm not moving, Mom. Fix it. Lydia's keeping cool, though. Deed in one pocket, bank statement pics on her phone, ready to end this. Henry rolls in late that night, tired and hauling a duffel bag, garlic still clinging to his jacket. Before Lydia can even say hi, Margaret's on him, throwing herself into his arms like a soap opera star. Henry, oh my God, you won't believe what Lydia's doing, she wails, tears on cue. She's trying to kick us out, saying crazy things about the house and money. She's lost it. Talk to her. Henry's brow furrows, looking from Margaret to Lydia. What's going on, kiddo? Lydia takes a breath, steps forward. Dad, it's not crazy. The house is mine. Mom left it to me when I turned 21. I've got the deed, checked it with a lawyer. She hands it over, watching his eyes widen as he reads. Margaret cuts in. She's lying, Henry. It's our home. But Lydia's not done. That's not all. She forged your signature for a $50,000 loan from your account. I found the statements. Look, she pulls up the pics, zooming in on that shaky signature. Henry's face goes stone cold, flipping through the evidence. Margaret's flailing now. That's nonsense. I'd never— Henry, you know me. He holds up a hand, voice low. Stop. I called the bank this morning. Someone tipped them off about weird withdrawals. They said my signature didn't match. CPS called too about old complaints from Lydia. You told me she was fine. Margaret's jaw drops, stammering. I was protecting us. Henry's not buying it. Protecting us? You've been stealing from me and treating my kid like dirt. He turns to Lydia, eyes soft but heavy. Kiddo, I'm sorry. I didn't see it. She nods, throat tight. She's mad he missed it, but he's here now. Henry faces Margaret, voice like steel. We're done. Divorce papers are coming. You and your kids out by the end of the week. Margaret collapses, sobbing. You can't do this. Jake's yelling, Dad, come on. Sophie's crying, where are we supposed to go? Henry's unmoved. Figure it out. You've had a free ride on my daughter's back long enough. Lydia stands tall as they scramble. Margaret's begging, Henry please, but he's already walking away, calling his lawyer. By morning they're packing, Jake hauling gym bags, Sophie stuffing makeup into a suitcase, Margaret silent, defeated. Lydia watches from the porch, deed in hand, as their car peels out. The house is hers again, quiet for the first time in years. Henry slumps beside her, muttering, I messed up, kid. She shrugs. We'll fix it, and she means it. Margaret's gone, and Lydia's won, fair and square. With Margaret, Jake, and Sophie gone, the house feels like it's breathing again. Lydia walks through it that first quiet morning, sun spilling through the windows, no barking orders, no clatter of Jake's basketball or Sophie's ring light humming. It's hers, really hers, and that hits deep. Henry's still there, though, quieter now, guilt etched into his face. He's sipping coffee at the kitchen table, looking at her like he's seeing her for the first time in years. Lydia, I'm gonna make this right, he says, voice rough. She nods, not fully ready to forgive, but willing to try. They start small, fixing up Henry's kitchen together. Lydia's got ideas. New paint, a bigger dessert menu, maybe even a little corner for her mom's old recipes. Henry's all in, rolling up his sleeves, and it's like old times. Flour on their hands, laughing over burnt cookies. The restaurant's theirs now, a real team effort, and it's pulling in crowds again. Lydia's 21, free, and finally stepping into her own. She takes a deep breath, looking out at the place her mom left her, and smiles. This isn't just a house or a business. It's a fresh start, and she's damn ready for it. All right, guys, that's Lydia's story. Crazy, right? From getting slammed with a $2,000 rent demand by her stepmom on her 21st birthday, to flipping the script and kicking Margaret out with that wild double twist, the house being hers and the forged loan. I mean, talk about a comeback. What do you think? Did Lydia handle it like a boss, or would you have played it differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear how you'd deal with a stepmom like Margaret, or lazy freeloaders like Jake and Sophie. Did Henry redeem himself enough for you, or should he have seen it sooner? If you loved this drama, and come on, who doesn't love a good revenge tale? Smash that like button and hit subscribe. We've got more stories like this coming your way, packed with twists, family secrets, and epic wins. Ring the bell so you don't miss a single one. Oh, and tell me, what's the wildest thing someone's tried to pull on you? Share it below and maybe your story's next. Thanks for watching, you legends. See you in the next one.